So this is our pre-press department. In here we do electronic pre-press work where we're prepping the files for the job process and make any changes that might need to be made. Some of that might be simple changes as far as they didn't add the bleed. They may have, we may have a fold job. They may have not created the panel. A letter fold, an 8.5, 11 that folds down doesn't fold into 3 even panels. They're all actually a different size for it to fold correctly. We look at different things like that. Or is it an RGB? Look for to make sure that the files are right when they go downstairs. So in here on the pre-press side, we're evaluating those files and then we're making a proof. This happens to be a proof, pretty simple one, but it's a proof of a, looks like a number 10 envelope probably. So this is an envelope. We'll print this on a press sheet. This one looks like it's going to be probably 1-up. We will also, when this is done printing, we'll go ahead and die cut it and then we'll convert it. Depending on the quantity, I may convert it here by hand or I may send it out and have the project converted. Depends on what the job is. If they're looking for 1,000 or they're looking for 100,000. So depending on what the customer wants, we may go in a different direction.
What do you mean converted?
This is a standard size, looks like probably a standard size number 10. So the converting process is they're going to die cut it, they're going to score it, and they're going to fold and glue it, add remoist glue on the flap. So basically turn it into a regular number 10 that you would be used to, something you'd buy in the store. This is just going to be custom because of the print, not just the element here, but the background color. I believe this is for a local church, yeah.
What is it?
It's going to be an envelope. So it'll just be a number 10 envelope. All it's going to be is 4 1/8, 9.5, just a regular envelope. Somebody mentioned Central Christian, that's who it's for. We do a lot of work for them. They come up with a lot of different creative ideas, and we help them to get their message out there. Looks like this one just dropped. This is a little larger one. So this is an Epson proof. Really what we're doing here is just after the files have been processed, we're going to an inkjet printer. We're going to, for the most part, on a higher quality photo paper. And this is the proof that we'll send to the customer and the proof that we'll take press side to make sure that it matches color. So this here looks to be, I'm going to say, is going to be a pocket folder. So these pockets are going to fold up. It's going to score. Looks like it might be a capacity pocket folder. I can't really tell. And then this has so basically a back panel, a front panel, and then this is a wrap for the front. So we're looking at everything at this point as far as are the bleeds there, is the color correct? Customer takes a look at this and tells us that they agree that they think this file is what they asked for. Want to make sure we didn't touch or manipulate anything. No element fell out, no logo fell out, no font blew out. There were no issues with the quality of the product. And for the most part, at this stage, pre-press is done. So we're doing a single page. Now we may have a job that prints multiple up. Those jobs that print multiple up, next stop we're going to make is an imposition. So they'll impose it in there, which is where they'll place it on a printing plate, multiple up. Those multiples might be multiple of the same image. This might be 2 up on a printing press, but it might just be multiple different pages of a book. Well, they'll orient those pages so that they fold correctly, so that they come out and they make a book correctly when they come out. The only other thing that's happening in this room, and it's on the other half of the room, is data. So we do data processing. That's mostly for mail. So as we get, we talked about digital printing earlier, as we get digital print files, as we get litho print files that happen to maybe just inkjet and mail, data will handle all of the mailing information. They process that digital file with the address, they process it for the post office, and then downstairs we actually produce it, sort it, and tray it for the post office. We enter it into the mail stream for our customers. Any questions on pre-press?
The block of colors there, is that the colors that were used to make that?
And actually, that block of colors there is really a test strip. Okay. So that's used, and really I'm kind of getting in his way, but that's used on this device here with a densitometer. They'll scan across that, and that we just want to make sure that the print heads are printing consistently, that the ink is all there, that everything is in register, that everything is right. Because I'm going to take this color, that this job is probably made, it's a 4-color process job that I'm going to print downstairs, so I use 4 colors of ink to make it. Inkjet ink to work at the same density and the same, basically the same density and the same quality as what we're going to print downstairs. So it takes them more colors to make the same ones. That's just making sure that all of the print heads are printing correctly. They just need to verify that before the proofs go downstairs. So we use about 7 colors. That's just the test strip to make sure they're working right. Downstairs, we're going to print the same thing, but we're only going to use 4 colors. But optically, we'll get this same. So here are 2 different printing plates. And taking a look at them to see what the difference is. This is a magenta plate, and this is a cyan plate. So they're going to print on top of each other. So basically, we've got a red plate and a blue plate. Those colors are going to print on top of each other, along with the yellow, along with the black. This just happens to be a couple of reject plates. For some reason, he found a scratch or a flaw. There's something wrong with these. He's pulled these out. So I'm pulling them out of his dead file. Normally, we wouldn't handle a plate this aggressively, because if we make a scratch in it, we'll actually print that scratch, we'll print that image. And we take it and drop it into one of these trend setters. They're Creo trend setters, and a laser images the plate. From there, because the plate starts out all purple, from there we'll go ahead and put it through one of the 2 processors. What it'll do is wash all of the non-print area away. So this used to be solid. We put this image on it, and as we develop it, it develops it, and then also gums it at the end, so it's sealing it from oxidation, so the air doesn't get to the plate. We'll take this plate, and it mounts from here. It mounts right on a printing press downstairs. So again, the same image, but this will go on the red unit, this will go on the blue unit, and then we'll usually mount, depending on the job, but 99% of the time we'll mount 2 more plates and print process. Just about everything we do is process. We do some Pantone, metallics, fluorescence, we do other colors, but the majority of our work is process. This is also where I had mentioned you might take the same image and plate it multiple up. That's what they're doing here. But if it was a book, this might be page 1, this might be page 16, depending on the orientation. They will impose it, and that's this department, imposition, so they will impose it correctly for that. Now if we have a book, we also will make another proof. After we've imposed it, we'll fold it down and make a little mock-up just to verify that we do have it in the correct pagination, that all the pages are in the right order, that everything's correct there.
It's still the pre-press
This is still, it's an extension of pre-press, but yes, to us it's still something that's happening before. We call it plating, but plating answers to the pre-press department.
What do you do with the plates once you're done with the print?
We basically just toss them into, and you'll see them downstairs, we'll walk by them. You toss them into a big Gaylord or a big cardboard box, and they get recycled. So it's a pretty good grade aluminum, but because of the ink, it does get downgraded a little bit, but they'll recycle, they recycle pretty good. As you walk through the plant, you'll see that we recycle just about everything we touch. So we recycle the aluminum, we recycle the plastic that the pallets come wrapped in, we recycle naturally, we recycle the paper, we recycle the wooden pallets that the product comes to us on. When we get into letterpress and you see the copper and the brass dies, we recycle those. We recycle anything that can be recycled. But like for this gentleman right now, he's working on a 5-color Komori. So it's a straight press. It's a press that only prints on one side. If you want a job that prints on 2 sides, I can print 5 colors on one side. But on this press, I have to go back through the press, flip it over, and then run the other 5 colors if you wanted a 5/5. Right now he's printing a process job, it looks like. So he's printing a job in 4-color process. And he's printing the second side, so he's already printed that. So he's got that series of color bars. So he's got a color bar at the base of the sheet. He'll take a look at it, he's got to see where he's at, and then he'll run across, scan the sheet. So it's going across, it's reading that color bar, and it's going to give him some digital information. You can see it showing up on the top monitor. It's confirming that it's right. And then it'll actually ask him the question. The question it's asking him is, the computer is saying, I see these moves need to be made. Do you want me to make the moves, or are you going to make the moves? So he can opt to do it himself. He can accept what the computer tells him. Nine times out of 10, the pressman will make his own moves. We just use the computer to give us the information.
Moves as in what?
More ink, less ink. It might be out of register. He may have another issue. But for the most part, what he's reading there is the density of ink. And for us, basically, that's how much ink is on. Should I add more ink in that one area, or should I take ink away? Add yellow here, take away yellow, add red over here. It's telling him all that information. What it's reading, when it reads the density of ink, it puts it into basically gives it a digital number. A consistent, steady reading of that digital number. Color is subjective, so we all see color a little bit differently. If we're to look at a printed sheet, I might say the red needs to come up, and you might say a different color needs to come down. You can accomplish the same color move or the same color shift by doing different things with different colors. But if you have a sky scene that is, most sky scenes are going to be a lot of blue and some red. So it's not just processed blue, there's a little bit of red in that sky scene. We may make a different move to accomplish the same thing. What the computer does, because we see it differently, what the computer does is it gives it a digital number to where now we're all the same. He can see one thing, I can see another. We get to a house standard, a standard that we've accepted that as a company, we're going to print to these numbers. Well, that's where we start. We start at those numbers, and then we take a look at the piece. Do the flesh tones look good? Do they look too yellow, where a person is going to look jaundiced? Do they look too red to where they're going to look sunburned? So the color can be off. This gives us a digital number to go to, and if a customer's here, customer comes and does a press check, they'll have us, we start at that number, and then they have us add red, take away blue, whatever it is. They're getting to the color that the designer or the customer likes. Once they do, we'll scan the sheet again, and then we'll tell it to accept that as the baseline. So now that's the new standard. For that job, this is where they want the color. So like in a job like this, where I'm going to print multiple signatures to make this book, because this is going to be a perfect bound book when we're done. So the book itself is going to be 1/8 of an inch thick. Well, that's a lot of different sheets to run through the press. So for me to be consistent in my color from photo to photo to photo, from sig to sig, each of those signatures, he'll basically establish a baseline of numbers with the customer. They've already been here, they've already okayed it, so we know what numbers to print to. We know what look it is that they're after. They're after some very specific things with their artwork. They're a very particular customer. Oh, and some of it is, all the computer really does, it reads that series of color bars. Anything can happen with that color bar. If there is a speck of dust, if there is a fingernail scratch, if there is a hickey, if there's any flaw in the color bar, the computer doesn't know it. All the computer knows is that based on reflection, so it shines a light down and it reads the light that bounces back up. Well, if you have a square that was this big and it had a flaw in the middle of it, you wouldn't get the same amount of light reflected back. So it would give you a false reading. So that's really what he's doing. The computer's giving him a recommendation, and then he's looking at the screen and he's evaluating that, and then he's looking at the piece itself. Do I agree with that? Do I think that more red is the answer? But maybe less yellow is the answer. You know, it can go either way. And basically, because our end user is a human, optically, it's best if we go to what optically looks the best. The computer is just giving him a recommendation is all it is. 53 inches wide. Before he cuts it, he's got a lift to save his back, so it'll automatically lift it and keep the paper at a specific height. He'll throw the sheets over a little bit at a time. He'll take a pinch. He's putting air in the sheet right now so that it jogs up easier. He'll put it on the lip, That's a vibrating table, so it's jogging to one corner. It's jogging to the same register point as the press did. So the same gripper point, the same side guide point, like we registered at the feeder, he's jogging to that same edge. It's also got a scale attached to it, so he's adding and taking off sheets until he gets to the right count. Puts a clamp on it, pushes the air out of the sheet, and then they can slide it over. It's got an air bed. Each of the little silver dots you see on the table is a ball bearing. The ball bearing sticks up and there's air pressure underneath it. So when the sheet goes across it, pushes the bearing down, it actually rides on a bed of air. So he's able to take that stack of paper that probably weighs 150, 200 pounds, and he can slide it around. It's a lot easier for him to slide around. So as he's cutting it, that back gauge is constantly moving to make the different cuts. Because he's taking a 28 by 40 press sheet and he's cutting it down probably to like a 12-18 that's 4 up. And he moves them over to the side. This machine here, he'll actually jog them into the same position each time, push a button, and the machine will off for him, so he doesn't have to. Again, saves his back. Got the 2 arms that are coming out left and right, and if you watch when he cuts, in order for the blade to come down for safety, he has to actually push both buttons at the same time. Can't push just one. But also those 2 arms that come out on the left and right side, they've got infrared beams of light coming across. So again, if he reached in, if he leaned in, sometimes I'll do it without thinking. I'll lean in to do something and my badge will get in the way, it'll break the beam, the blade won't cycle. So if I walk up next to him and I reached in to grab something, I wanted a sample. If I break that beam, it'll stop the blade no matter what the position is. Flat sheets, but it's different stacks of different versions of these invitations. These are invitations to New Year's Eve parties, different offers for different clients. He's going to load them up here. This is a buckle folder, so he's going to load them up. You can see just stacks at a time. As that loads, it actually goes the opposite direction, makes a U-turn underneath, and it'll feed from the table down below. So that belt actually feeds everything down and comes in this direction on the table. He's just getting started, but the style of folder is a buckle folder, and the style of feeder is called a continuous feed. So he can just keep loading it. He loads it at one end, and it keeps feeding from the other end. And they scored them there. So the same machine that does the die cutting, they will have done the scoring. Now it just so happens that same machine is also the one that applied the foil. So it's not just printing and coating that we have on this, this was printed on the big press that we looked at there, the 840, was printed on that with the specialty coating. Then it went to letterpress and was foiled, and then letterpress ran it back through again and put the score in it. Then it goes to cutter, they're cutting it down to final size, and that's what he's setting up to fold here. So as we walk through the shop right now, one of the things that you'll see is hundreds of these different, it seems like there's hundreds of different versions floating around the shop. Each pallet has a load flag on it, has an identifier to what it is, so we know computer. I know, this is Mark, I know when Mark started the job, I know when he finished the job, so that I know that he moved it to the next department. We track everything as it moves by computer. We have a system that watches all of that. So if we're looking for a job and can't find it, we go back to where it was last known, this is who touched it last, this is what he did with it, it should be here. This is a job that is hundreds of thousands of invitations. Well, I know that on this load here, it's load 485,001 to 490,000. But if you look, the flags are everywhere as we go. And what the job is, this is a self-mailer. So this one here will get cut down to 1 up and then be folded, but we'll score it, fold it in half, fugitive glue it, and then it already has the personalized offer, because this person gets $25 in casino play and this individual gets $150 in casino play. One may pay for your room, one may not. One may like poker, one likes slot machines. They'll personalize it to you. The hotels have an unbelievable amount of data on the people that game there. As for this, their mailing address, again, we're putting that on there for the hotel. They provide us all of the data. We just marry it up with the color background. Start at 1 and go to whatever it might be, 490,000, 495, 500. I'm not sure how big that job is. That's a pretty good size job. Coating and different specialty coatings. This is actually a soft touch, but it's soft touch on both sides. If you wanted to feel the difference between, you can feel that sheet there, and here's a sheet with just ink on it. So if it didn't have any coating, it just feels just like what you would think, but soft touch feels kind of like a rubber glove.
One student was freaked out by that. It feels like skin.
And there actually is a brand of paper called Skin. And again, I think the manufacturer of that is called Curious, but they make soft touch coating. Well, soft touch coating was actually brought around to emulate a paper called Plike. For us it was Plike, mostly we use Plike, but there's another one called Touche. And really what those were papers that to get that same feel, they impregnate that sheet. They also make it, there's latex in there. Well, same as a rubber glove. So they wanted it to feel like a rubber glove. People wanted a cheaper solution to get the same feel. They invented this coating several years ago and went to that, so you don't have to pay. I can pay 25 cents, I can pay a dime for a sheet of paper, pennies for a sheet of paper. A sheet of Touche might cost $2 or $3. So just a huge difference. And if you're getting the feel, this is probably about 2/3 of the feel of Touche. It's not quite as rubbery, it's not quite as grippy, but for most people, they're very happy with this, and they're very happy with the price difference. So he's taking a shot right now of the Heidelberg cylinder. This is a die cutting press. So on this, we don't do any printing. On this machine, really, we're die cutting, herping, and scoring, and that's really it. So no foiling, no embossing. Our specialty work over here is really die cutting. This one does die cutting, scoring, and perforating. And it looks like an older machine. It's probably a mid-1960s. So it's been around a while. Cut down to 1 up. After that, it'll go to the folder, and that's when they'll fold and glue it. And this is also a digital sheet, and if you look around the shop and we talk about printing and is printing dying as far as print goes, what I would say is print isn't growing. It's not going away, but it isn't growing. But the digital side is growing faster than, just about faster than we can buy equipment. That side of the business is growing by leaps and bounds. And if you look around the shop and you see the colored load flags with numbers on them, you see the difference. So you know that's a digital job, that's a digital job, so you can get an idea of which jobs are digital and which jobs are litho by those numbered load flags. So if they have the numbered load flags on them, those are digital jobs. Now, also on the same machine, now he's just scoring it. Now we may want to do something different. I may want to die cut a shape. This happens to be what's called a steel rule die. So this die is actually going to cut out a window. So this is just a die for a job. So what it is, the steel rule die is really just a piece of wood. That wood is cut, and what's put in there is a cutting rule. For the most part, that is just a knife blade. It's a knife blade that is dull on one side, but it's sharpened on this edge. So this is as sharp as a knife. Just like a pair of scissors, just like a knife in your kitchen, I can run my finger across it and it's not a problem. You run it the other way, you're going to cut your finger. Very sharp. It cuts out that window. What these little ejection pads do is basically just what they're called. They help that piece of paper to eject out so that the chat or what's remaining in that die cut area doesn't stay there. It pushes it away. So I'm grabbing the sheet of paper and I'm die cutting one sheet at a time. As it pulls that sheet away, I don't want it to be connected to the knife blades, so it pushes it up above the knife blades about a 1/16 of an inch so I can drag that sheet of paper away. So a steel rule die. Now this is a square shape, but if it was a rounded shape, those would also, everything is made by hand. There are machines that do it. The company we go to for about 90%, 95% of our dies, all of these are still made by hand. Now this is a foil die, and I'll show you a sample of some foiling. And actually, this is very close to what we saw at the other end, where I showed you the property had the property name foiled on it. This is that same die. So a little logo, and we put a layer of foil that runs on a roll. We've run that across. Those two come together. We're going to heat this up to about 280, 325 degrees, somewhere in that range. We're going to put it under pressure, and it's going to transfer in just a very fine process to get something to come together with just the tolerance of that piece of paper. We'll get the pressures all right, and then we'll go ahead and run it. Now, the type of foil, and we usually will do this on these Klugis here. So again, this is a German piece of equipment from the mid-60s. This is an American piece of equipment from the mid-70s. In those rolls of foil, you can see the different images. The good roll of foil, the new roll of foil is up top, and as it goes around the press, the used foil winds up on the back. They take that away. Like printing looks nice, but you can do some exotic things with foil. So it's a little bit shinier. This is a gold holographic. So it's got the pattern in it. Same thing, we'll have to get a die that looks like this. We'll go ahead and put that die down. And again, heat and pressure is what causes that foil to transfer over. The foil really is just a very thin piece of cellophane. There's a layer of pigment or image, depending on what it is. And for the most part, it's another layer that is really almost like a hot melt glue. Very thin layer. That hot melt glue heats up with that pressure and transfers the color across. So what you see left on the roll of foil, the little hole, is the cellophane. So the cellophane really is just the carrier. We've even done projects where somebody wants to get a little more exotic. They wanted an envelope that you couldn't see through, and when I opened it, they wanted something flashy on the inside. So here, they wanted us just to foil a large area, and that was going to be the inside of the envelope. A lot of money to spend for the inside of an envelope, because again, everything we do in literally any of our areas except for cutting, everything is done one sheet at a time. So if somebody is ordering 5, 10, 15,000, all of that happens if they're ordering, like we saw the one. If somebody's ordering 500,000, it's still happening one sheet at a time. Now the other thing we do in this department, it takes basically a male and a female, so it's a copper die. They etch the image into it, and they pour a resin into it and transfer the resin onto this transfer board, this phenolic resin board. So now what I have is a male and a female, so the die as that sheet of paper comes through, will actually punch through and give you that. So this is a blind emboss with these images here. So in this department, we do our digital imaging. So if we start at the far end and the more basic end down here, we do black and white imaging. So down there are 6 Xerox Nuveras. They take a sheet that is 12.5 by 18.5. They print black over nothing or black over black, whatever your choice is. But they do only black, and same thing. They will print one side of the sheet, flip it over, and print the other side of the sheet. For the most part, those machines are used to imprint on shells that we print. So jobs that are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands long, we may print a litho shell and then imprint the black variable information over here. Digital printing is very economical for the smaller numbers, like what you were talking about with you. I just might want 10 or want 100 or something like that. Digital printing is very good for that because you don't have to buy printing plates. You don't have to mount the press time. You're buying a lot of time over there. Over here, you only have to buy as much as your job is. It might take me an hour to make ready or 2 hours to make ready your job, depending on the number of press forms. But over here, once I load the file, I just print it and it all comes out. The difference is on large size jobs, it's not economically feasible over here. It becomes more expensive. So for the black and white presses, they're usually done with larger jobs that I may print over on the litho side, cut them down like he was doing at the cutter. Those are shells, we call them, and those shells are coming over here to be imprinted, and that's what all of these are. Now, a customer might ask us to print shells. Those shells might be for 1 month, so it all happens at one time. They may have me print shells for 3 months or 6 months, and I inventory them. And each month, they use the same shell and send out a different offer. This month we're giving away Coke, and next month we give away Pepsi, and next month we give away Budweiser, depending on what it is that their offer is. The digital presses, and this is just a sample of what they do. We've looked at the litho side. They pretty much do the same thing. This is a digital flyer. This was done for the rodeo that was in town, I want to say a week ago. This was done for them. This was a 4 over nothing, just a little handout of the Nevada bike, one of the prizes they offered for one of their riders. This is something else. This one happens to be a 4 over 4. Neither one of these are variable. They could be, but this was just something we did for Barrett Jackson, just something I pulled off my sample tub to see what the differences were. Just as easily, these could be personalized. These could be different vehicles, and they could change from person to person. So on the digital side, and these are our color presses at this end, when we're printing the color, you can print static jobs, which these are, or you can print color variable jobs. So the color variable jobs, same thing, might just be a postcard with a mailing address, and that's the only variable data, but I might get a picture of a Ford car, you might get a picture of a Chevy, you might get one of a Porsche. Depending on what it is that you've purchased before, it might be for your insurance company, it could be for a doctor or dentist, but for anyone, what the industry has noticed is that the return that they get on their mail, their direct mail, the return is directly related to how personalized they can make that for you. If you see your name in color, as a rule, you're going to read it to see what it is because it looks less like junk mail and more like it's personalized for me because it is. So based on that, they may get returns from 10 years ago, they were sending out mailings in the hundreds of thousands, and they may get a 2 or 3% return and be happy with that. Well, now what we're looking for on returns is closer to 20 to 40, but even 60% returns based on your audience. Like a lot of the hotels, a big part of our business and what we do is the gaming, but it's in customer retention. So it's getting a customer that I know, a customer who's been here before, I need to get them back into the building. How do I get them back into the building? Well, based on your player cards and the information that those player cards gather when you go to restaurants, you get great discounts when you use your player cards for the restaurant, for the room, for gaming, for whatever it is you do. You get these great benefits. Well, part of what they're doing is tracking who you are and what you do. so that the next time they go to mail, they know what you like. They'll give you that incentive of that item you like, if it was Mexican food, if it was steak, if it was slot machines, if it was the poker tables, if it was the salon, or if it was golf. Whatever it was, they'll personalize that ad to you because they know that's what you like, because they know that's what you did the last time. So the more personal they can make it, the better their return, the better their hotel retention, which is a huge part of our business. This is a jet press, helping them with that jet press. So it specializes in printing an envelope, so not really a cut sheet. It prints on a pre-converted envelope. It's like a blank envelope, and we'll go ahead and print different images on it. Now, one of the unique things about this press is based on the grippers and how the press works, we can bleed off the edge of the envelope. We can bleed off 4 sides of the envelope. You can't bleed all 4 sides all the way across the piece, but you can bleed. If you look at some of those pieces, you can bleed off the edge of the envelope. The other presses in this area, we have a couple of GTOs. Basically, that's a Heidelberg, or a German piece of equipment. They are a 14 by 20, so a smaller print format, but we've got a 1 color and a coder. And then we've also got this one here, which is a 4 color, which is also a perfector. So it can print 2, flip the sheet over and print the other, or we can print 4 colors on one side, depending on what the project is. Most of what we do over here is going to be 4 colors on one side at a time. So we're trying to pump enough moisture back into the air, so it's just water under high pressure. We're trying to get the humidity level up to about 50. We'll never get to 50 in Vegas. We just can't get that high. They'll probably get as high as about 30-35%, and that's it. But they basically will run all the time.
Why do you want it high humidity?
When you buy paper, there's a certain amount of moisture that's already in the sheet. Well, paper is a lot like a sponge. When it's dry, it's smaller. So when I buy it, imagine buying a moist sponge. Well, that's about what you have here with paper when you buy it, because it has a certain percentage of water or moisture content already in it. When I print one side, or maybe I print one pass and I go to put it back through the other side, or I try and print on that same side again, because we can go through the press multiple times on the same side. If the sheet has set around for a day or 2 or for a week, that sheet will actually start to change size. So it can change on you, and that change, for the most part, for most people, might not notice it, but as printers, we can tell when something is off a couple of thousandths of an inch. We're not necessarily seeing that just with the naked eye. We look for our register, for our fit, we look under high power loops. So we magnify everything beyond what the human eye can see, and we take a look at that to see what needs to happen to it. Do I need to move my register marks back into position? Every now and then when you buy a magazine, you'll see where something is folded off centered or trimmed off a little bit. You'll see some register marks or some bullet or some targets come into the position. Those are the things we're looking at that are normally supposed to have been cut off. We do get some stretch or some fan out just from the sheet. When I take a single sheet and I put it under the pressure and squeeze it, and as I'm putting down the red and the blue and the black and I put down all those colors, you will get some sheet distortion. If you keep the sheet with a certain level of moisture in it, the distortion is less. Also with static, if you can keep it again around 50, the static is very low. As the sheet dries out, as the shop dries out, you get higher static. And that causes our sheets to stick together. So that's a problem also.